race. And here's our grid today. Out in Q1 after crashing at the second Q1 exit in his career, Isaac Hadger starts last. Lance Stroll got a grid penalty, but he was out of Q1 anyway by the time that came into force. 18th on the grid for Alex Albon, third consecutive knockout in Q1 here, and he's got Esteban Ocon alongside him at 17th. 16th on the grid, Gabriel Bortoleto, back-to-back Q1 knockouts for him. Franco Colapinto keeps him company, and ahead of Colapinto, his teammate Pierre Gasly, lead Alpine for the first time in 4 races. Yuki Tsunoda starts 13th for the second race in a row. 12th on the grid goes to Liam Lawson, and only the second time in the last 7 races. The Racing Bulls aren't in Q3. Nico Hülkenberg hasn't made it for a Grand Prix this season in the top 10. Fernando Alonso has. This is his 10th appearance in the top 10. Carlos Sainz alongside him and ahead. Ollie Behrman, another career best start in consecutive races for him. It's 7th on the grid for Kimi Antonelli. 6th on the grid only for the championship leader, Oscar Piastri. Lewis Hamilton, 12th top 5 start in the US Grand Prix. Ahead of him is former teammate George Russell. Charles Leclerc is third, his highest start since his pole in Hungary. And the front row is the same as we had for the sprint. Lando Norris starts second. Max Verstappen with a 7th pole of the season. Is pole the place to be, or is second on the grid the one that gets the best start? Because the driver starting second here in Aston Martin has led the opening lap in 5 of the last 7 US Grand Prix.
Norris will need a better start than he had yesterday if that's going to happen, but that's quite possible. Let's see. But Max Verstappen seems to have his starts under control. All 3 tyre compounds are represented on the grid. The most interesting one is Ferrari have split strategy. Leclerc on the soft compound tyre. He's an outlier in the top 15 on the grid. Then we got soft, and 3 drivers at the back of the grid trying hard compound tyres just to do something a little bit different and try to take advantage of a later safety car or what have you. So Leclerc, but they used soft tyres, whereas Verstappen and Norris on the front of the grid have got brand new medium compound tyres. It still might gain Leclerc half a car's length heading up to turn 1 and a bit more confidence, a bit faster tyre warm-up. So we'll watch out for him into the first few corners and the first lap. My spot in the tower has been taken by the trophy for today's race, sitting all proud on its own. And the one thing I did notice up there, Martin, was just how windy it is today here in Austin, and how that wind has changed around 180 degrees. But in a way, I think the drivers will like, because that really grip-limited, tricky first sector, that snake, the endless S's, is into a headwind, and that's very good news for grip. But then when they steam down the back straight into turn 12, which is a bit of a downhill, bumpy braking zone, they'll have a tailwind. They'll have there's less air going over the car. They'll have less downforce, less grip. So, yeah, the wind can't follow the cars around the track. So they've got to make do. But I tell you what, the drivers, if they had to choose a wind direction, they would choose this one. And we're off for the formation lap then, which, as we know, is a very important lap in Formula One. That was an excellent piece with Martin Brundle in the McLaren here in Austin, explaining exactly what goes on. And whilst we watch the front row peel away up towards turn 1, Karun Chandok has got his eyes on a lot of screens at Sky Race Control.
Yeah, good afternoon, Prof. Martin, everyone listening. Lots of chat, Martin, as you said, about that wind on the radio. The good news, absolutely, this sector that we're watching on track now, they snake through the high-speed sector 1 with the wind on their nose. But lots of radio chat on the laps to the grid about the drivers complaining about the section from turn 12 all the way to turn 19, because you've got a tailwind, including the final corner, the newly named Andretti corner. So that is where, in terms of tyre degradation, the rear tyres are going to be really struggling. Something to watch out for. Yeah, if you fly your aerodynamic wings into a headwind, you've got more air going up over the car. If you've got a tailwind, you've got less air. And they use that air to press the cars into the racetrack. So that is the difference. What really gets them is if the wind is gusting and it's a crosswind in a critical corner.
It's a fascinating race this afternoon. We know what Max Verstappen's like when he's out in front. He's often absolutely unbeatable. But we don't know what the McLarens are going to be like in race trim, because we didn't see it in the sprint race yesterday. So it's a voyage into the unknown for them. We don't know, and they don't know with the data either.
And I think also McLaren are going to have to, because they haven't got any data about the wear underneath the car. We've seen cars disqualified here in the past. They'll probably have to leave a bit of a margin. They'll have to be slightly more cautious, will McLaren, on where they would normally have been if they'd have been able to measure the wear yesterday in the sprint race.
All right, folks, we are live here for the Austin F1 Grand Prix. I'm Brian Bielanski here. Welcome to the show. And coming on right before the formation lap, or during the formation lap. Just ran up a flight of stairs, so I apologize. Let's see if we get some chats going up here. This is the Racing Network's first ever Formula One watch party. And let's see here. See if we can pull some chats up here. Formation laps getting wrapped up here. There's the chat for YouTube. Pull up the Twitch chat as well. Final car is getting ready to go here as they pull up into their spot. Okay, here we go. Waiting for the lights to go, and the lights are out. And we are underway here. Let's see if there's any first lap shenanigans here like there were during the sprint race. So far, everybody gets through turn one nice and solid. Verstappen goes to an early lead. Looks like Leclerc has a great start into second place. There we go there. And let's pop that chat there so we can see what we're talking about a little bit. There we go. Looks like everybody's had a clean first lap. Good on everybody else. You're sitting at home, grab yourself a beverage, whatever your beverage of choice is. One car looks like it might be slowing down there, or just looks like one of the Mercedes. That could be Russell there. Russell and Antonelli should be pretty close to nose to tail there. Yellow flag is out. Not quite sure what for. Track hazard. My guess is it may be some contact with a wing somewhere. Although that track hazard appears to be cleared now. Okay.
Seconds between himself.
Gonna try to get this so I can listen to the race, but not. All right, so where are we at here? Still there. Systems here. I think I turn off here. All right, we're gonna get this worked out here pretty quick. There we go. Now I can listen in the background. Yeah, I want to make sure I don't broadcast the audio from because that would get me in trouble with the copyright gods. Wow, Verstappen's got some great form here. This should really be worrisome to the McLaren folks, shouldn't it? Here we can see the different sectors. Look at Max going purple, purple. Early on here. Let's see what we got going on here. If you're in the chat, that's what we're here for. Give us some info. Let me, I know what I need to do here. Let's change this to this. So that I can actually do some commenting here. Wow, lap three, and Verstappen's already up by 1.7 seconds, 1.5 seconds now. It's dropped to. Leclerc really wants to try to get into DRS so he can work it out there, but now he's got some pressure behind him from Norris. Norris clearly a little bit faster here. Little defensive action there. I wouldn't blame Leclerc for that, though, right? All right, anybody here? Hey, there's Lee in the chat. Hey there, Lee. How are you? Early on in this race, joining me in for the watch party. Appreciate that. You can see the, we've got all the extra data up there for you to look at there. And let us know what you think, how you hanging out. Where you hanging out from today, Lee? We are in Pasadena, California. Or near Pasadena. Norris got a big move on Leclerc, but Leclerc's able to hold on there going into that corner. Looks like Norris is definitely faster here. And all of this up front is allowing Hamilton to stay right there with them. Hamilton's going to have DRS with Norris. He could probably follow Norris right through, so. Lee is from the Northeast Boston area. Thank you, sir. Welcome to the stream. If you like it, subscribe, hit the like button. Tell all your friends to show up. Tell all of our friends to show up. This is our first ever F1 live stream here. The goal of this is not for you just to replace what's going on your television, of course. It's to have on in the background, and hopefully, by the next race, hopefully, we'll have, we'll put together a little Discord channel so I can get some chatters in here with me. And that could be fun also. So, Greg March in the chat as well. Hello there, Mr. March. Welcome to the stream. As we can see, all of our cars are on, or most of the cars up front are on medium tires. Looks like Leclerc was able to use those soft tires for that great start, but it didn't hold on long. Verstappen's already worked up a good big lead here. Does not look like I'm refreshing enough here. Let's see what happens when I do this. Let me see if I can get this thing to. Well, it's supposed to be. I've got Darby in the chat as well. Love it. Love it. Oh, I already see a snarky comment here. Let's see what this one's all about here. Technical problems. You must be a member of TSRL. That is true. Wow, look at this move here. Oh, we've got a car off there. Turn 15. It's underway. Is there any debris left that might bring out a safety car? Now we're taking a look at the restart again. I think I may need to change these to a browser source. Uh-oh, Antonelli looks like they're already out. Oh, it's Carlos Sainz, not Antonelli. Yeah, we're going to get a safety car here for sure. Let me see here. I think the solution is going to be to do this with the first one. Still trying to work out some of the bugs here. I thought I had it worked out yesterday. Hello? Okay. Let's see here. Well, yeah, the audio is working fine, Darby. It is my overlay that's not refreshing. So that's what I need to try to figure out here. All right, let's try this. That is really weird. Oh, that's what I wanted to do. All right. Trying to get this lined up here for you. There we go. All right, well, at least now we have one that's updating. Now my question is if I see if I can duplicate this copy. There we go. Now let's see here. There we go. Now let's see if this seems to be working. So I am back. Sorry about that. Trying to get this thing working again. All right, there we go. Now it looks like at least I've got one screen updating. I'm going to have to do these as screen captures. So, of course, you don't need to know any of that anyway. Learning a little bit as we go here. We're on lap... There we go. Now I think we are all caught up. Yes, I see they like the hat. The hat that I'm wearing it's the most patriotic hat that I have. This is the Thursday Night Sim Racing League hat, and it is a lot of the people in the chat are my Thursday Night Sim Racing buddies, which is great. I love this. This is what a watch party is all about. Have some of your friends, and eventually we'll have some people from all over the world, hopefully, joining us on our chats here. And we've got some snarkiness here, which I'm hoping for a lot of. See, I did get caught up, so it looks like we're back on track here. And yes, Lee, a little bit on how the sausage is made, and trying to get all this stuff worked out here is sometimes a little bit interesting. I did a test stream yesterday, and everything seemed to work fine, but I didn't realize that it wasn't continuing to refresh. So, but now we could get back into a groove. So we've got FSX 239. I know that's Darby. And Greg and Lee. Let's see, is anybody on the Twitch chat at the moment? Let's see if I can find that page. What did I do with the Twitch chat? Oh, there is the Twitch chat there. Yep, nobody chatting on Twitch yet. That's fine. All right, so 13 laps in. Not a lot of changes here. I'm surprised, honestly, that Norris was not able to get around Leclerc. He was all over there. I don't know if it's because of tires and he's just waiting for those soft tires to go away. And I know dirty air is probably an issue here as well. There's George Russell getting into the ear of So if Piastri is struggling in fifth and Russell can get around him, that's going to be big on this championship. I haven't done the math yet, but we're getting to the point where now I have to start doing my math on if Verstappen wins every race and Norris and Piastri finish second and third on every race, can they still win the championship? Of course, 14 laps in, lots of... So Leclerc is calling on track limits for Norris. He can see track limits out of his rearview mirror. That's pretty bold. I want to know out of those tiny ass rearview mirrors how he can tell that Norris is giving up track limits. I think that it's possible that Norris is living rent-free in Leclerc's head. So now, if you are watching at home on our stream, you will notice that my feed is about just maybe 10-15 seconds ahead of the race. So not quite sure how to fix that, or even if I want to fix it. 4 laps after 14 laps, he's going to win by 16 seconds, assuming that there's no problems in the pits and no other issues. Yep, that is the way that the math works at the moment. Now, my question is, and this would be bold of the broadcast, if they can queue up a couple of laps to see if actually there were a track limits moment for Norris, because then I'd still call BS, other than maybe someone from pit lane said something to him. But unless it was way wildly off track, here comes Norris with DRS. Come on now. Now he maybe set up well here now, side by side. Oh, the over, under. It's possible, yes. My stream through YouTube is where I'm watching the actual race is obviously delayed because it's got to go up and down and then go across the fibers and all of this kind of stuff. The magic of television. Uh-oh. Data page is not moving. Stand by. Thank you, chat, for keeping me on point for that. Let me go up here and refresh it. Stand by. There we go. We're back now. That's some pretty good clean. Oh, look at the little graphic that they're throwing out here now. ESPN throwing up, or actually this is Sky Sports, so this is the international feed. So this little red, it looks like an iRacing track map or track guide. I don't know if I like that. Oh, 2 track limit warnings. Now, maybe there's something to be said for that Leclerc calling in track limits. So if all these guys started on mediums, my guess is that they go to softs, which means this is going to be a two-stop race. Unless they can get to... I'm going to have to do a little math here. Hold on a second. To make it a one-stop race and go to softs, my guess, what do you guys think? I'm thinking they got to go to lap 34, maybe 35? With Leclerc on soft, he's got to go. With Leclerc on softs, he could probably get to lap 24 and switch to mediums and go to the end. So if they're all trying to do one-stops... Yeah, that's right. Look at that. Leave Piastri 4 seconds back. Not even in the discussion. So I don't know if he had some damage early on or what the case might be. You know, and Verstappen on the mediums with a 6-second lead, he's in the best place here because he can just coast for the last 5-6 laps of the stint and maybe get to that lap 34, 33, 34 mark, switch to mediums and be done. So maybe 2 stops for both these guys. As long as Leclerc is not going to be catching. Now, the question will be, Leclerc's going to pit first. And then how much time he can start making up on Verstappen lap after lap when he switches to the fresh tires first. The one thing you can count on for Ferrari, though, is to screw up the strategy. That is one thing they have done a little bit better seemingly this year, but over the last several years, Ferrari strategy has been pretty much in the tank. And there's Norris. Just pressure, pressure, pressure. And Charles just not having any issues. Staying in front. So a two-stop for Ferrari, Lee, I'm guessing is probably going to be lap 24. '24 is 4 laps shy of halfway. And a two-stop for the guys on the mediums needs to get to about lap 32, I'm guessing. All right. Ferrari's strategy is to come up with the strangest way to ruin your strategy. That would track considering some of the boneheaded decisions they've made over the last couple years. I don't know. I'm trying to remember who was the race director when before the last Ferrari race director who didn't have a regime of bungled strategy decisions. Kind of have to almost go all the way back to Michael Schumacher. Yeah, the cars on the hards are struggling, it does look like. But Norris is doing, not falling back at all from Leclerc. And Leclerc's on those softs. "20 seconds is the pit window." Okay. So it looks like Antonelli has switched to the mediums and has gotten a fast lap. So Antonelli just went purple on your screen there with a 1:48.67. So on the screen, a purple is the fast lap for this race. Let's see, this could be the best shot that Norris has had. That means these softs are going away possibly for Leclerc. Yeah, it does look like these softs are falling away. He's got to get probably 4 more laps out of these softs to make it a two-stop race. So the next time track limits for Lando, he's going to have to take a 5-second penalty probably. And Hamilton's just sitting there watching the whole thing develop, knowing that he is on the medium tire strategy. So they split the strategy at Ferrari. Not always a fan of that, but I am a fan of that when they leave it up to the driver to decide whether or not they want to do the split strategy. Yeah, the question is, will anybody go to a hard tire early and go all the way to the end? The hard tire, I think, would have been a decision if there was like a safety car on lap 15 or something, or lap 10. But as long as Leclerc can keep Norris behind him for 4 more laps, that will be, I think, lap 24 is the place for Leclerc. Trying to stay in front until lap number 24. Unless they think that there's a little bit more in the mediums. Oh, now they're playing the garage mind games, it sounds like. I'm gonna put my crew out thinking to try to trick the other team to make a stop. They forget that it's Formula One, and most of the people in Formula One are pretty smart. There you go. There's the warning flag for Lando. One more track limits, and it's I believe, guys, it's a 5-second penalty typically for track limits. We're probably going to get a chance to find out. Somebody here. Norris is in a good spot here. Question is, will he go off track limits to make this happen? Good pass for Norris, but does he go off? Nope. Keeps his track limits. Now the question is, how quickly will Norris pull away? There we get Leclerc trying to fight back. Leclerc, can he hang with them enough for 3 more laps? I think 3 laps is the magic number. I think the problem is with that message is that the engineer spoke too much. Just say 3 strikes, don't do it again. I know. It's like my sim racing team telling me, cold tires, cold tires, cold tires. I love it. All right, so now is 2 more laps. Can he keep 2 more laps before he comes in? That would be Leclerc. And then he goes all the way to the end on those medium tires. The medium tire, guys, I think it's 32. That's my number. My magic number is 32 to get to the end on the softs. Yep, now comes the strategy for Ferrari. That's right. Yep. Oh, that's a defensive move. I thought he was letting him by. But that's not going to work out. Oh, that is awfully close. Oh. Teammates. Yes. Hamilton on the medium. Split strategy for Ferrari. Do not take out your teammate. All right, so Leclerc makes it to lap 23. So he's going to go all the way now. All right, we'll see how this strategy works now. All right, so that's right in front of Alonso, it looks like. All right, so the key right now for Leclerc is to not go and do anything crazy on this outlap. Got to get those mediums to come up to speed in a pretty safe manner. So, because he needs that to now go 28, 20, 31, 30, 33 laps. 33 laps is where he has to go with this tire now. Hamilton just goes purple in sector 1. All right, so now Norris, 10.9 seconds back from Verstappen. That was stupid aggression by Leclerc. I don't think that's a bad assessment there. I mean, Norris finishing in second here would be the best case of the bad scenarios. And Piastri is not far away from being if he can get a good set of tires when he gets on the softs, and if maybe the car responds better to the softs, he is not so far back from Hamilton that he could not get back in the mix here. And then the question is, when everybody starts to cycle through and do their pit stops, where is Leclerc going to be? Hamilton gaining on Norris from... That would be an interesting development here. Yeah, I suppose if Piastri's not too far back from Hamilton, then Hamilton's not too far back from Norris. Now, Norris and Hamilton and Piastri all on the same tire strategy. They all started on a medium, so they all have the equal amount of wear on those medium tires. All right, now Ocon decides to come in and switch out. He's taking off the hard tires, putting on a set of softs. Yeah, Verstappen does look very tough. So any speculation, did Red Bull find something over the last couple of weeks? Did they do an update, do you think? Or is it these just tracks that are better for this Red Bull car than they are for the McLarens? Just wondering, any thoughts out there? When you've got all that big lead, Verstappen's not in any hurry to come in. My guess is he's going to go till lap, again, my number's number 32. So Greg thinks it's some updates. I know McLaren had mentioned that they were looking to go and start working on next year's car with the new rule set. So that could be part of what's going on here. But you got to think, if you've got two guys in the lead for the championship, championships don't come very often. You're going to take some time. And Tsunoda, you're right, in 6th. But I got to tell you, that's the best I've seen him. He has not had this kind of top 10 stuff for most of the year. So anytime he's in the top 10 fighting for a top 5, that's got to be good for him. Of course, he thinks he's racing for a potential ride for next year. I'm not quite sure with Honda going away if he even has a chance to be with Red Bull next year. So half a pit stop advantage, 20 seconds. The gap right now is 10.7. Yeah, they say they're done updating. I read that also, Lee. But my gosh, if you got a chance to win, I guess they've won the Constructors' Championship. That is the most important thing for any of these teams. But my gosh, if I am Piastri and Norris, and they're gonna just give up on this thing and let Verstappen get even close, because the closer he gets, the more pressure they have race after race going into these final 7 races or 6 races. And as anybody who's ever driven a race car knows, pressure is a race car driver's worst enemy. It's one thing if the car breaks, but when you just make mistakes, it starts getting in your head. All right, so we are now at the halfway point here. All these medium tire guys now have to make the decision. How long do they want to go to try to get to this final tire change? And then all the guys on pit wall are like, okay, the plan is at this stage, Max, is if we can extend it as long as possible and we can look at an alternative strategy. Yeah, there's no reason for Verstappen to come in. Let him stay out. The big question is Norris, Hamilton, Piastri, Russell, Tsunoda. Yeah, I think for Verstappen, it is an easy choice right now. Go deep. Go maybe even further than lap 32. Could he get to 34? Could he get to 38? The other question is, how does the Red Bull race on those soft tires? Is the car set up better for the softs or better for the mediums? If it's set up better for the mediums, you stay on those mediums as long as possible. There's Pierre Gasly coming in for his stop. Oh, long problems. Right rear, right rear. All right, we are doing our thing here. Big thanks to the guys in the chat. Watch the interval, I think was 11 before, now it's 10. All right, so it sounds like they're talking about even going to a hard tire to go the last 28 laps. The question is, all right, we saw Leclerc go 23 on the softs. So to go 23, it's lap 33. I don't imagine any of these guys up front are going onto a hard tire. I know they're talking about it. Oh, here comes Tsunoda. All right, let's see what Tsunoda goes to. Coming in here, maybe he'll go to a hard. right, so this is a test, actually. This is a test to get some data, exactly. Get some data on what this tire does to determine what to do with Verstappen. All right, so they're working on some strategy. Lee says medium folks up front will go soft. I think so, but I'm wondering why they were talking to Norris about potentially going to a hard tire. They're just trying to get in the heads of the people on pit lane. That's also possible as well. The gap now down to 9. Norris catching Verstappen. So Verstappen's tire is definitely going away. And I think Norris is actually being benefited by the fact that he can't do any more track limit problems, so he's not driving quite so hard. Now Piastri's going to come in at lap 31. I was saying lap 33 to go soft. Let's see what happens. All right, so Piastri goes to the softs with 35 laps left in this race. 35 laps on the softs. Berman's also in the pits. All right, so that drops Piastri down to P7 after his stop. So lap 20, lap 31. So he's going to have to go 25 laps. 25 laps. Thank you, Lee. This is actually the part of all racing I enjoy the most, the strategery. All right, Hamilton comes in on lap 32, so he's going to have to go 24 laps on a set of softs. Yeah, nobody's putting on hard tires. I'm wondering if that was just McLaren trying to do a head fake on the radios. The March line. I didn't see the line that Russell took, the NASCAR line. Is that going way, way wide? All right, Antonelli now coming in off the mediums. Is this for a second stop? Antonelli, that is his... Oh, it's his first stop. Okay. Yeah, no track limits for NASCAR. I bet you these guys would love it if there were no track limits. All right, Norris comes in at lap 33. I was saying 34. And he goes on to soft tires, so that's essentially the number I was looking at. Verstappen now has a 25-second gap, but that's because of the pit stop. Actually, no. Russell hasn't made a pit stop, so now Verstappen's going to come in I believe it was about 8 seconds was the gap before Norris came in. So let's see what happens now. As long as there is no problem on the pit stop, Verstappen should come out with plenty of a lead here. I wonder if I can set up an auto refresh. Oops, that's probably a bad idea. Let's go back. If anybody knows how to make a web browser auto refresh, let me know. I'm having to go in here. See, there's my browser settings. All right, here we go. Russell now in the pits. Any changes on pit lane? Here we go. Well, it looks like Russell's already going to be behind Piastri. The question is how far behind? Is Tsunoda going to get out in front too? Okay, it looks like he got out in front of Tsunoda, but he will end up being looks like 4.9 seconds back. Ah, yes, ask ChatGPT. Seems to be the solution for most things these days. I asked ChatGPT how to make me skinny and good looking. The response was, there are things that ChatGPT even can't figure out. All right, no tire changes now to the end for everybody up front. Now the gap between Verstappen and Leclerc is 6.3 seconds. So it looks like that Leclerc was able to get a... Oh, what was that? Wow, I want to see a replay on that one. Did Berman just miss his shift or missed a braking point or something? Or was he just trying to be have more ambition than skill? Wow. All right, here we go. Oh, yeah, that's just a bit of... Oh, how is that? That looks like something I would do. But usually I spin when I'm being pressured. He moved under braking. Yeah, he turned in for the corner. He didn't move under braking. He turned in for the corner. Wow. Okay, all these Europeans wearing cowboy hats is just with a pink shirt. I mean, nothing against pink shirts. I wear pink shirts all the time, but my God. Yeah, Norris on the fresh tires, fresh softs is going to reel in Leclerc very fast here. That is truly, the car was moving technically under braking. Because if it weren't moving, that would be already broke. Little slow on the right front. Not terribly slow, though. If it wasn't moving, he'd be stopped. That is true. For the guys in the chat, if you would hit the like button, I would appreciate it. Oops. I should not hit that button. That's a nice desktop. I need to get a better desktop. Didn't mean to do that. There we go. That's pretty funny. So if you get a chance to check this stream out after the race is over and you enjoyed it, please tune in again. I got to look at the schedule here. I have a couple of races coming up where I am the play-by-play announcer on a live stream. But let me do a quick check here to see if those races conflict with any of the Formula One races. Let's see what we got going on here. Oops. Yeah, I'll accept your stuff here. 37 to go now. Let's see here. All right, it looks like I will not be able to go live from Mexico because I will be broadcasting from Buttonwillow Raceway Park in California here. But that is the only race I have a conflict with for the rest of the year. So it looks like when you look at the F1 calendar, after Mexico, the final 4 races of the year, we will do this little dance here. Brazil, Las Vegas, Qatar, and Abu Dhabi. I don't know what time I'm going to have to get up to do the Abu Dhabi and Qatar rounds. But I will get up early in the middle of the night if I have to. It'll be interesting. Now, this was an interesting overtake scenario when Norris got around Leclerc earlier. Now let's see how it works out for these guys now. Leclerc is kind of a sitting duck here on those medium tires now. But I will tell you that Norris has got to get this done pretty quick because there's going to come a point in time where the softs and the mediums cross over. So, got to keep an eye on that. Yeah, I feel like that the longer this takes Norris to get around, the better this is for Leclerc. And then at some point at the end, I'm going to guess that the the mediums on Leclerc's car will go way away, and then maybe Norris will have something there for him. But yeah, maybe Norris was just cooling off his tires, charging his batteries. That could be what's going on here, because as Greg has pointed out, 4/10. Yeah, that's why, Lee, I agree with you. I think there comes a point in time. So he's got to get this pass done and get a little bit of a lead before those softs start to go away. Now, I will say, though, we saw that the mediums that Verstappen were on the start of the race did start to go off at one point in time. So there'll be some, at the end of this race, the mediums will go ugly as well. He says his tires are already gone and he's got 16 laps to go. Oh, they were used tires to start with. Well, that kind of sucks. I am going to step away for half a second to refresh the beverage. I'll be right back. Don't go anywhere, everybody. All right, we're back now to the finish. What did I miss? Anything? So is Norris just going to have to struggle with these tires till the end? And if they're that bad, I wonder how many laps were on Hamilton's soft tires when he put them on. Let's keep an eye on that gap. Because this would be a nightmare scenario if Hamilton could get around and have the two Ferraris ahead of the two Ferraris between Verstappen and the McLarens. Wow, that would be just bad for the drivers' championship. And Verstappen says he's suddenly sliding a lot. Well, the good news for Verstappen is that he has a Verstappen has a 6.9 second lead, so I'll keep an eye on that a little bit to see how much he is sliding. Is there a chance with 13 laps to go that Leclerc can actually catch Verstappen now? Because he's on the mediums and they're all on these softs? Wouldn't that be something? This could be very, very... Is this a strategy decision that Ferrari made that's actually going to work? How about that? .9 seconds. Now it's 6.8 seconds. Leclerc has picked up another tenth or two. He's going to have to pick up more than tenths, by the way. The good news is Ferrari will do Ferrari things. There is a good possibility that that's possible. Still 13 laps to go, though. But when you have a 6-second lead or almost a 7-second lead, you don't need to pressure. You can actually really take care of your tires, which is, I'm sure, what he's doing. Norris now lost another 3/10 over the last lap or two. And Hamilton now 8.9 seconds back from Norris. Yeah, Lee, I think you're right. Verstappen's not a guy who really knows how to go slow. Verstappen's left front is bad. Let's see if we can get a shot of that. Yeah, Norris is losing to Leclerc but not being caught by Hamilton. From what I can tell here, it's still right around that 8.9, 9.0, 8.8, the gap between third and fourth. I love that Ted Kravitz is talking about how people aren't kind to the Ferrari strategists. Yeah. There's a reason why people aren't typically very kind to the Ferrari strategy, because over the last couple of years it hasn't been very good. So let's maybe see they've changed their tune here just a little bit. By the time we get to the next race, I'll have to do all of my math to figure out what happens. Oh, broken clock. I don't know. Well, I mean, 45 minutes left. There's a 2-hour limit to the races, so that clock is just set on the full-length race limit, is what it looks like to me. And I do keep refreshing because I do know that the data stream seems to catch up on itself. So it's also possible that my Ferrari's getting the strategy right. It looks like they may have. Looking back through the field here, which a lot of times they don't talk about very much. Looks like Alonso is in line right now, although he's got a little bit of pressure from Lawson, but Alonso is going to be, at the moment, in the final points-paying position in 10th. Ollie Berman's in 9th. Nico Hulkenberg is in 8th. Tsunoda, good run for him in 7th. That's pretty unlike him this year. Maybe he's starting to figure out that car a little bit. Russell, he's probably the guy who's had the day that he probably is not real happy about. 6th place. Unless he came in with a 6th place car, he's going to go home with a 6th place car. But after finishing on the podium in the sprint yesterday, you'd think he'd be a little farther up the running order here. And there is Lance Crash Stroll on the screen right now. He was able to get into 2 incidents during the sprint race. I wonder how it feels to be the guy who knows on the grid that the only reason he's there is because Dad owns the team. Not quite sure how that would make me feel, but. And I wonder how much Fernando Alonso would be benefited by a driver with some pace who didn't make stupid mistakes, who could help develop that car a little bit. All right, we're down to 8 laps to go here. All right, so Norris, that gap's come down a little bit. That gap between first and second, 6.7 seconds, so it's kind of stabilized. Oh, yeah, that could be good strategy. There's Antonelli going around Esteban Ocon. That's a... All right, Norris trying to fight back a little bit here. All right. And Norris is quicker on both of the first two sectors than Leclerc. Yeah, if he can get into DRS range, that'll be very interesting. Big thanks to everybody in the chat today. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put together a Discord server, so maybe some of the chatters can come on with me. All right, Norris now in DRS range. But if you think the chat is snarky, you should hear all of us on a Discord server during a sim race. This could get saucy. But yeah, it would be fun to have 2 or 3 people on the Discord so they can chat with me, and then we'll talk about the people in the talk with the people in the chat as well. So I think that's going to be the next step. We'll get that hooked up before the next race. See if we can get a couple people to come on here. Maybe we'll do something like take a shot every 10 laps if, you know, Lance Stroll hasn't hit anybody yet. Now, I will say that Stroll's got to get this done because every moment he's behind that Ferrari is just eating up his front tires. So, a shot at... Hey, come on, it's 5 o'clock somewhere, Greg. If a shot for every Stroll wreck is the measuring stick, we could be really, really snookered by the end of the race. And you could do Bloody Marys. You know, if you want to be... Oh, look at them throwing that in. And there's the over-undercut. Well, that was quite interesting. That's true. Mazepin would be something we should be glad we don't have anymore. Norris got that DRS open again. Now he's going to try him one more time. Maybe this is a better spot. Yeah, that's a better, much better move. He will have sealed that now. I don't think Leclerc can fight back at this point. Wow, what a great way to set that up. All right, that's huge for the Drivers' Championship to get Norris into second place. Now the question is, well, Hamilton's gotten around Piastri. I missed that part. And if Russell catches Piastri here with 4 laps to go, that's huge against Piastri. Could not be a worse weekend for Piastri at this point. That is a good piece of driving by Norris. I have to wonder if there's something with the car after Piastri's big shunt during the sprint race. If they just didn't get the car right in the repair leading up to qualifying, and I wonder if there was parc fermé between qualifying and the race today, because that could be the part of the reason why Piastri has had such a rough run today. But regardless. Oh, you're right. No, Hamilton was in front of Piastri. It was Norris that was between the two. That's why I missed the... Thank you, Lee, for putting me straight. Yeah, that's the other discussion they mentioned on the broadcast is with Norris finishing this far up over Piastri, it just brings that gap together between Norris and Piastri. So we have to remember that Piastri is still the championship leader here. Maybe I should just open a Discord chat and have the other person in the chat be ChatGPT. All right, 8.5 seconds Norris to Verstappen. All right, so Norris has to now nurse those tires for 2 more laps. 3 more laps. Haven't talked a lot about Verstappen because he's not had any issues. This is very much like last year and the year before and the year before for Verstappen. So, you got the little teammate on teammate violence there, or potential violence between the Alpine drivers. Coming up here on a couple laps to go. Big thank you to everybody here joining me in the chat. We're going to upgrade this for the next one with hopefully a Discord server so I get some of these people on the live stream with me. We're also going to do this next year for IndyCar and IMSA races when I'm not at the racetrack. So, and maybe even if I am at the racetrack, maybe some of the chatters here will be the hosts of this live stream. Oh, look at me throwing out the big ideas. Like and follow if you're checking us out, not during the stream, because I know everybody on the stream has liked and followed. And we're going to do 4 more races here, 4 more F1 races. And I may even throw in a few of the NASCAR playoffs races, a couple of those left. Maybe definitely the championship race. We'll do a live stream for that as well. And we can do some NASCAR races next year as well. I got a couple of NASCAR buddies who might want to do the live stream with me. That could be fun. So we're not going to live stream from Mexico, but we will be on for Brazil, Las Vegas, Qatar, and Abu Dhabi. Wonder what the timing is for those races on my time. Let's see here. Looks like Abu Dhabi is going to be 8 o'clock at night, 8 o'clock in the morning. That's not too bad, my time. Abu Dhabi is going to be 5 o'clock in the morning. That's reasonable for me. Not sure if the rest of my family will be happy to have me out here doing this at 5 o'clock in the morning, but hey. Oh, I don't want the monkeys running the circus. You know, it could be entertaining. Oh, Shabuzi's going to wave. Let's go a little bar. Very apropos for our watch party here. Shabuzi with the bar song. Maybe Shabuzi could be our sponsor, be our theme. The bar song. All right, coming up here on the final lap. All right, Verstappen's got about, 3 miles left on this racetrack or so? Oof. Wouldn't that be something if Verstappen got taken out by lap traffic on the final lap, first corner? That would be something. Let's see here. Russell does not going to catch Piastri. Piastri is pretty much safe there. So it's going to be a 5th place finish for Piastri, barring any final problems here. I wonder if we're going to get a simply lovely out of Verstappen here at the end. And then we're going to do, I think I should be available to do a 24-hour live stream from the 24 Hours of Daytona. How about that? Throwing that out there. That could be a ton of fun. And at Daytona, I might have the opportunity to get some teams to join us on the live stream. That would be awesome. I know I've got some drivers who I know who are going to be hopefully in the 24 hours, and if not, they'll be there. There's Verstappen getting the win here. Piastri gets within 1.4 seconds of Hamilton, but not enough. I don't think. Ooh, Piastri's going to try to catch Hamilton, who might have a puncture here. Couple corners to go. Oh, is it close enough? Oh, wow. That is the luckiest place to have a puncture for Lewis Hamilton. He pips Piastri at the line 1.142 seconds. All right, so we got a lot of fun stuff. This was a great time. I hope everybody in the chat enjoyed it. And we're going to just expand this and have a lot more fun. And this has been a blast. So, front right puncture. So your top 10, Verstappen, Norris, Leclerc, Hamilton, Piastri in top 5. Tsunoda, Hulkenberg, Berman, and Russell, Tsunoda, Hulkenberg, Berman, Alonso, your top 10. Then Then you've got Lawson, Stroll, Antonelli, Albon, Ocon, Hadjar, Colapinto, Bortello, Gasly, Sainz finishing in 20th. So I'm waiting for a Simply Lovely. All right, well, there you go. All right, folks. Battery dead, gonna run. Thanks, Greg. Thanks, Lee. Thanks, Darby, for being part of this. And we will do it again in a couple of weeks here. That's going to do it now for all of our coverage here. This is the Racing Network with our live stream coverage of the Formula One, our live stream watch party, F1 Austin. Hope you guys had a great time. We'll see you next time.